Do you ever feel just a crushing pressure to understand absolutely everything immediately?
Constantly. It's exhausting.
Right. Just, sit with that question for a second. Think about your day today.
Mm-hmm.
Think about the articles you skimmed, or the summary points you demanded, or the videos you watched on double speed.
Or even watched at 3 times speed, honestly.
Exactly. We are living in a moment where, well, where not knowing feels almost like a personal failing.
Yeah, that's incredibly accurate.
Today, we are taking a deep dive into some truly fascinating source material.
Yes, a philosophical framework called Reflective Humanism.
And specifically, a thesis titled, Why We Are Becoming Exhausted by Clarity. Because, we're absolutely bombarded right now.
We really are.
We have short-form videos delivering complex geopolitical histories in, 60 seconds?
Which is objectively wild when you think about it.
Right. And we have AI tools instantly summarizing 50-page documents into 3 bullet points. We are living in a culture of extreme time efficiency.
What some trend watchers call TIPA, or time performance.
Yeah, typa. And then there's the rapid-fire social media landscape, where the moment an event happens, there is an immediate expectation for commentary.
You need to take immediately.
Exactly, for a definitive stance. Okay, let's unpack this. Because he feels like our brains are on a treadmill that just keeps speeding up.
Well, which is why we need to state right up front that this deep dive is not an argument that explanations are bad.
Right, we're not saying throw away your encyclopedias.
Not at all. Explanations, clarity, efficiency, these are incredibly useful tools.
Yeah.
But what the source material is identifying is a structural shift in human cognition. It is a phenomenon called cognitive rectification.
Cognitive rectification.
Yes. And before we get into the mechanics of that, we have to look at what that demand for instant clarity is actually erasing.
Okay.
It is erasing the space for human uncertainty.
I want to pause on that word, erasing. Because we've built all these incredible tools to instantly explain the world to us. Are we saying that by using these tools, we are actively losing a cognitive function?
Yeah, we are. Historically, human beings possessed a kind of cognitive spare capacity.
Spare capacity, like extra room in your brain.
Basically, yeah. The sources refer to this as a necessary margin. It was a structural space in our minds that allowed us to read a complex text or observe a confusing situation without requiring immediate understanding.
Right, meaning was allowed to emerge slowly, maybe days or weeks later.
Exactly.
You could just let a complicated idea marinate. I mean, I think about reading a dense novel. Sometimes you read a chapter, you don't fully grasp the author's intent, but you keep reading anyway. You trust the confusion.
And that trust is exactly what is disappearing. The cycle has dangerously accelerated.
How so?
Well, we have moved to a state where the internal sequence has been hijacked. You encounter something you don't understand.
Okay.
Instantly, that not understanding triggers anxiety.
Oh, wow.
Yet that anxiety demands immediate explanation. And that explanation results in rapid meaning fixation.
Meaning fixation.
Right. We lock down a definition just to relieve the discomfort of not knowing.
I see this in myself all the time, honestly. If I'm reading an article and I hit a dense, complicated paragraph, my instinct isn't to sit there and puzzle through it anymore.
What do you do instead?
My instinct is to highlight it, right-click, and ask an algorithm to explain this to me like I'm 5.
Exactly.
Or I skip the book entirely and watch a 10-minute YouTube explainer. But I do have to push back a little here.
Sure.
Is the drive for a faster answer really born out of anxiety? Couldn't it just be, a desire for efficiency?
It's a fair question.
Are we just romanticizing the good old days of struggling through long, difficult books by candlelight?
Well, the reflective humanism framework addresses that directly,
Okay.
arguing that this is not mere nostalgia.
Okay.
The structural problem lies in what happens when we remove the natural friction of learning. When we demand immediate explanation, we are forcing our internal cognitive processing into rigid, linear shapes.
Right, making everything a straight line.
But the external world is deeply complex, ambiguous, and nonlinear.
Yeah, reality is messy.
Exactly. So when you take a rigid, instantly fixed meaning and crash it into a complex reality, you generate psychological friction.
So the friction doesn't actually go away, it just gets transferred somewhere else.
Precisely. The text calls this transparent pain.
Transparent pain, meaning like a pain we can't quite see, but we feel the effects of.
Let's ground that concept a bit. Transparent pain is the exhaustion of trying to force reality to update faster than our minds can naturally metabolize it.
Wow, metabolize it. That's a great way to put it.
It is the underlying stress you feel when an event in the real world, say a nuanced cultural shift, doesn't fit neatly into the 280-character hot take you just posted.
But you now feel obligated to defend that rigid stance anyway.
Exactly. You are hurting yourself by trying to maintain a fixed meaning in a fluid world. We have reached a point where uncertainty itself has become socially intolerable.
It's like we're swallowing our food whole because we don't have time to chew, and then wondering why we have a constant stomachache.
That's a perfect analogy.
We just want the calories, the information instantly. And since uncertainty is now completely intolerable to us, it makes total sense that we went ahead and built a civilization-scale tool to eradicate it entirely.
You're talking about artificial intelligence.
Yes, exactly.
And the role of AI here, specifically the large language models and chat interfaces mentioned in the text, requires a careful baseline.
Right.
The framework does not frame AI as a malicious force. This is not a moral panic about technology ruining humanity.
Right. No doom scrolling about the robot takeover here. We're just looking at the mechanics of the tool.
Exactly. AI is simply increasing the speed of explanation at a civilization scale.
Yeah.
It's a massive accelerant.
Accelerant, yeah.
And as the speed of explanation approaches instantaneous, the things that require time-human contemplation, resonance, ambiguity, and the interpretive space between people, they become incredibly hard to preserve.
What's fascinating here is how we usually use AI right now. Because if the definitive answer is always instantly available on your phone, choosing to sit in ambiguity feels wildly inefficient.
It does.
It feels almost irresponsible, you know?
Right.
We treat AI like a fast food drive-through.
A drive-through.
We pull up, we order 5 bullet points on macroeconomics, we get our little bag of instantly digestible facts, and we drive away.
Right, it's transactional.
Or we use it to generate consulting slides, so we look like we have all the answers in a Tuesday morning meeting. It functions as an instant answer machine.
But the reflective humanism text proposes a radically different ideal for our relationship with AI. It introduces a concept called the health scan mode.
A health scan mode, like going into a clinic for an MRI.
The analogy is apt, but instead of scanning your physical body, it scans your cognitive process.
Oh, interesting.
In this ideal, AI shouldn't be an oracle that hands down the absolute truth. It should act as an atmospheric field.
An atmospheric field. Let's break that down, because when I think of an atmosphere, I think of the air around us. You know, something invisible that we breathe. How does a chatbot function like an atmosphere?
Well, think about how the Earth's atmosphere interacts with light. It doesn't block the sun, nor does it generate the light itself.
Right.
It refracts it, it scatters it so we can see the sky. An AI functioning as an atmospheric field should be a transparent, non-interfering layer.
Okay, I'm following.
When you interact with it, it shouldn't just give you a fixed final answer that stops your thinking. It should quietly reflect your own cognitive biases, your blind spots, and your current positioning back to you.
So instead of me asking, explain the cause of this economic crisis, and the AI saying, here is the definitive 3-point answer, you can stop thinking now.
Yes, exactly.
A health scan AI would respond differently. It might say, here is the data, but notice how your prompt heavily focuses on the domestic policy angle. Have you considered that you are entirely ignoring the international trade context?
That is the exact mechanism.
Wow.
The goal of this health scan mode is not to solve the problem for you and force a fixed meaning. The goal is to help you maintain cognitive homeostasis.
Cognitive homeostasis.
Right. Keeping your mind balanced, aware, and capable of holding the complexity of the world without collapsing into the anxiety of needing an instant answer.
That completely flips the paradigm. We are currently using AI to end our thinking process when we could be using it to deepen our observational process.
Exactly.
And that brings us to the sheer scale of this issue. If our personal relationship to AI is already acting as an instant answer machine, what happens when 8 billion people are using it that way simultaneously alongside the rapid-fire ecosystem of social media?
This is where we return to that concept of cognitive rectification. The structure of human thought is actively shifting.
Right.
Let's look at the electrical metaphor the term borrows from. Rectification in electronics is the process of converting an alternating current, which flows back and forth into a direct current that only flows one way.
AC to DC. So alternating current is messy, It changes direction, while direct current is just a straight, forced line.
Our natural cognition used to be like that alternating current. The text maps out the traditional path of human thought as observation leading to structure, leading to a question.
Observation, structure, question. Let's walk through that.
Okay.
You see a phenomena, maybe a strange trend in your industry. That's the observation.
Right.
Then you try to figure out how its parts relate to each other. That's building the structure. And finally, you ask a broader question about what it means for the future. It's a very open-ended flow. It allows the mind to wander back and forth.
But in an environment of extreme explanation density, where answers are forced upon us instantly, that natural alternating current is being rectified into a rigid direct current.
Okay, so what does the new path look like?
The new cognitive path the text identifies is phenomenon, leading to instant meaning, leading to position.
So what does this all mean? Phenomenon, instant meaning, position. What does this actually look like for us on a daily basis?
Well, think about the news.
Right. It means when a complex news story breaks, let's say a nuanced scientific study is released, you see the phenomenon. And within seconds, an algorithm or an influencer on your feed has provided the instant meaning.
And the very next second, you are expected to take a capeman's position.
Yeah, exactly.
The internal monologue shifts from, what does this mean, to who is right, who is wrong, and what is my stance?
We see this everywhere. It's the engine of the social media outrage cycle.
Yeah.
If you don't post your definitive stance on a complex geopolitical event within an hour, you're accused of being complicit.
Yes.
But it's also in the workplace. Think about KPI-driven communication.
Oh, absolutely.
Everything has to be measurable, justifiable, and instantly explainable to stakeholders. There is no room in a quarterly review for a manager to say, well, we observed this phenomenon in the market, and we are still sitting with the questions it raises.
Right. You would be laughed out of the boardroom.
You'd probably be fired. You have to have a position. Everything demands a fixed stance.
And operating perpetually in that state creates what the reflective humanism theory calls a collision gradient.
A collision gradient. That brings us back to the idea of transparent pain. How does the gradient work?
Imagine your interaction with reality as walking along a slope, a gradient. When you rush to fix meaning and take rigid positions, you aren't walking down a smooth path anymore.
Okay.
The slope becomes steep, jagged, like a series of cliffs. You experience what the text calls discontinuous generation.
Discontinuous generation.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you are forcing reality to update into fixed categories too fast, the world hits you with painful friction. You're constantly colliding with events because your fixed meanings are too rigid to absorb them as they unfold.
So we're basically driving a car with no shock absorbers over a terribly potholed road.
Yes, exactly.
Every single bump is a violent collision because there is no give in the suspension. We've removed the cognitive suspension.
That's a great way to visualize it.
Yeah.
And the alternative proposed by the text is maintaining a question gradient.
A question gradient.
A question, by its very nature, doesn't fix meaning. It keeps the field of meaning open. It creates a gentle, continuous slope.
Right, because you aren't locking anything down.
If we can approach the world through a question gradient observing, holding the ambiguity, keeping the meaning unfixed, we allow reality to unfold continuously. This minimizes the psychological and societal pain of those constant rigid collisions.
The problem is that our modern optimization culture hates an unfixed meaning. A question gradient sounds beautiful in a philosophical sense, but it feels terrifying in a culture that rewards speed and certainty.
It does feel very vulnerable.
Yeah. So if we are constantly colliding with reality, trying to fix meanings, hit our KPIs, and broadcast our positions, what is the fundamental human experience that is disappearing?
It is vital here to separate the idea of knowledge from the idea of meaning. What is disappearing is not information.
Right, obviously not.
We have an absolute overabundance of information.
We are practically drowning in it.
What we are losing is the ability to remain.
To remain.
To remain together inside meaning that has not yet been fixed.
Just to sit in the not knowing together without panicking and reaching for our phones to find the answer.
We are losing the capacity for what the text calls pre-verbal meaning.
With pre-verbal meaning.
Before an experience is categorized, labeled, and explained, it just is. We are losing deep contemplation. And fundamentally, we are losing silence.
Silence.
The quiet space where things exist before they are weaponized into a stance or a data point.
Here's where it gets really interesting. I think about anyone who just feels perpetually drained by the modern world. The exhaustion we all feel. I think we've misdiagnosed it.
Anything?
We think we're tired because there are too many articles, too many emails, too many videos to consume. We blame information overload.
Mm.
But based on this deep dive, the exhaustion actually comes from the fact that explanations now act as an absolute condition for ending thought.
That reframes the entire issue perfectly. The fatigue isn't from the volume of data, it's from the forced resolution of that data.
We are exhausted because we are never, ever allowed to just not know.
Right.
Every input demands an output. Every piece of data demands a conclusion. The machine in our heads is always running at maximum RPM because the culture tells us that leaving a question unanswered is a failure of productivity.
Yes.
We are tired because we have lost the permission to be uncertain.
We are optimizing away the very space where human resonance occurs. If everything is immediately rectified into a direct current of fixed meaning, there is no room for the alternating current of human wonder.
So let's pull these threads together.
Yeah.
We started by looking at this immense pressure we all feel to understand everything instantly.
Right, driven by short-form content, time efficiency culture, and the sheer anxiety of not knowing.
And we observed how that anxiety strips away our cognitive spare capacity, driving us toward rapid meaning fixation.
We then explored how AI, functioning at a civilization scale, acts as a massive accelerant to this process. Though, as we discussed with the health scan mode and the atmospheric field, the technology itself could ideally serve to reflect our biases rather than end our thinking.
We unpacked the mechanics of cognitive rectification. The shift from a natural flow of observing and questioning to a rigid demand for instant meaning and taking a position. And we saw how that rush to take a position creates a jagged collision gradient, filling our lives with that invisible, transparent pain.
Which ultimately brings us to the cost of this acceleration. The loss of silence, the erosion of pre-verbal meaning, and the disappearing ability to simply remain together in a space where the answers are not yet fixed.
It is a lot to process, and it challenges the core of how most of us navigate our daily lives. But true to the philosophy we've been discussing, we aren't going to end this deep dive with a tidy list of productivity hacks or a 5-step plan to fix your brain.
No, we need to leave it open.
We are going to leave it open. So I want to leave you with a final lingering thought drawn straight from the heart of this material. Do humans truly need a world that can be instantly understood?
Or do we desperately need the ability to remain, for just a while, with what still cannot be explained?
Perhaps not knowing isn't a failure of thought, but the very breathing of civilization itself. And to our audio team, please leave a brief 3 to 5 second silence at the exact end of this audio before fading out.
Yes, let's actually honor the silence we've been talking about.
Exactly. Let the listener just remain with the question.